Hi internet family. It's currently the end of February and this is the kind of video that would usually go only to my Patreon people at this point, but I'm sending it out to all of my platforms because I just think it's a smart thing to focus on and to realize about ourselves that I'm going to talk about, and also to give those of you who might be curious about what the Patreon is like a glimpse of what it's like, so you can come join if you want, because we're growing over there and it's a safe internet space that's meant to give your energy, not harvest your energy like a lot of the places you go to on the internet are intending to do. So this video is about living seasonally, and I'm recording this at the end of February. This is about the third springish day that we're having here in Central Virginia. We had one about a month ago, but then this time last week there was about almost a foot of snow on the ground. So yesterday the sun finally came out again, and I feel like I come back to life every spring, and I know it's gonna happen. And it always surprises me every time because, you know, you get used to where you're at. And I'm a spring baby. I was born in the end of April, and I'm just a hot weather person. I have a really easy time shedding heat, so I'm hardly ever too hot, but I have a really hard time holding heat, so I can easily get too cold. And for me, when I get cold, I get sad. And so if I'm shivering for a day or half a day, I'll wonder, why do I feel this way? And then I realize, oh, it's not that I was sad. It's not that something bad is happening in my mind and body. It's just that I'm cold and all my muscles are clenched. And for me, that comes with sad emotions. So this past winter, I got myself some new fleece-lined clothes, which amazing, technically Sherpa lined. Look for them, they're life-changing. And also this year I got into the heated clothes world. So I had heated socks, I had a heated jacket, I had a heated hoodie, and it changed my life, you guys. I know people who come to life in the fall or in the winter who feel like something in them just wakes up, and I'm kind of the opposite. And so this past year I decided, and those of y'all who are in my Patreon already, because I am putting this in my Patreon as well. I love you guys, by the way, you're amazing. Anyway, if you're in there, I talked about it and we planned it and I shared behind the scenes as I was doing it. So that meant that there wasn't a ton of pressure to have the same amount of production, the same amount of producing and creating and making things as happens in the summer and the spring, when I just naturally have more energy, when there's just more life flowing through me. Because the way that I tend to match up with nature is that in the winter, things go inward for me, and in the summer, things flow outward. So I'm just effortlessly having more ideas, I'm just effortlessly having more energy, and it's just easier for me to do stuff and make stuff and mobilize. So this past winter, I decided, all right, I'm really gonna pare down. I'm going to hibernate. I'm gonna play around with my sleep schedule. So I started breaking up my sleep in 2 sections rather than one long one. If you want to know about this, read the book Seth Speaks. It's channeled work from like the 70s, and he talks about it. And also there's other research about why that's good for the brain. So in the winter, in the deep winter, when the nights were really long, I started waking up sometime in the middle of the night, depending on when I went to sleep, and staying up for a block of 2 or 3 hours. And it takes about a week or 2 to get over into the new pattern, and it was glorious. I remember one night specifically, I woke up and I made myself a little nest on the couch downstairs. And this happened to be when I was on my cycle as well. So y'all may know that, at least for some of us, when we go on our cycle, we just kind of naturally end up more nocturnal anyway. And so I kind of wanted to stay up, and I didn't want any lights on. My eyes were accustomed to seeing in the dark, which again, I'm a solar girl, doesn't usually happen, but it was kind of amazing. I even turned off my front porch light because that light shining in my house was too jarring for me. The electric light was too jarring. So that was amazing. And then the season started to change, so I'm not really doing it again. In the summer, rather than sleeping in 2 spots at night, I would sleep one long bit at night, and then I would take a nap for 2 or 3 hours during the hottest part of the day, when again, for me, my energy dips. So let this just be a sign for those of you who wondered, why do I feel weird? Why am I maybe having not enough energy or more or less than I usually do. Remember that we're yearly beings. We've evolved with the earth. We're supposed to plug into the cycles of the earth. And there are seasons of rest, and there are seasons of movement and productivity, and there are seasons of growth, and there are seasons of harvest. And so maybe just pay attention to your own seasonal living, and so you can optimize, so that you can plan to be creating a lot more when you have a lot of energy, and you can plan to be hibernating and dreaming and healing and processing when you don't have a lot of energy. So that's what this video is about. I hope this was helpful. I would love to know in the comments, wherever you see this, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok or on Patreon, of course, I would love to know, what seasons are your seasons? What seasons are your seasons to rest? What seasons are your seasons to move and actualize and create and do stuff? And finally, in closing, I just want to say, I try not to get too political because I like the idea of us all being on the same team. And in the current political world, it's very divisive. And I'm not going to get political other than saying, I'm very proud and grateful to be part of a country that considers itself a melting pot and a conglomeration of many different beautiful cultures and many different ways of thinking. And if you tap into the media these days, it can easily look like everyone's fighting. But when you come back to the real world, when you talk to your neighbors, when you go to the grocery store and talk to the cashier, when you travel around and just see real people, at least my experience is most people are good. I have lived through some small disasters, and every time I've lived through a disaster, it has never been, oh no, each man for itself, we go feral. It's been, we come together. And this is not just me, this is people I don't know that then end up working together with. We come together, we help each other, we pool our resources, we share things. We're a community. And I'm a firm believer that we have enough resources in this world for everybody, and that we just need to reimagine how we think of it. Also, we cannot expect any of the systems that are currently in place to take care of us, you guys. They don't. So we have to take care of ourselves. And I don't mean each person is an island. I mean by making connections, by going local, by rooting down, by expanding and welcoming more people to our table. So speaking of welcoming more people to our table, if you want to join the Patreon group, you can find it. It's at Patreon, Grace of Earth. The way that it works is there are different tiers, and there are different prices for each tier. So they run from like $8 a month to just get a bunch of exclusive content that I post there and don't post anywhere else. That's like this, chatting about stuff, taking you through different things, teaching different things, practicing different things. And they go up to $200 a month, and that's for a session every month. And there are a couple different options for that. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. My goal in having the Patreon is to have a place on the internet that you know it's going to be safe. You know you're going to get energy. You know you're going to get alignment. It's going to soothe your nervous system down. You're going to feel better by the time you get off of the video. So thank you for watching. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments. Also, I'm planning on teaching a Reiki course this spring. So if you've wanted to learn Reiki, now's the time. I try to teach it every year or two, and I only recently started teaching them online because I wanted to make sure it worked before I taught it online. So there were many, many, many years that I was a Reiki practitioner, first off, before I was a teacher, and then secondly, many years that I was a teacher before I taught it virtually, because I wanted to make sure that it worked. All right, sending lots of love, you guys. The world is okay. We're moving forward. Don't get stuck in the mire. Connect locally in the real world, and you will see that we're on the cusp of a great awakening, and it's up to us to do it. All right, love y'all.